Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. The topic on the table today is building off original deep dive video into Proterra and going in depth with their financials that separate them from their competitors.
Today's video will be broken down into 4 parts: an overview of Proterra's financials, looking at Proterra's competitors, the results of our breakdown, and calculating Proterra's real fundamental value. Before comparing Proterra with its competitors, we will quickly go over Proterra's financials in total. Proterra made $193 million in revenue in 2020, broken down into $153 million in their EV transit buses and $40 million in their electric systems and Proterra Power section of their business. They expect $246 million in revenue in 2021, $439 million in 2022, $838 million in 2023, $1.449 billion in 2024, and $2.566 billion in 2025. And this would be broken down into $784 million in EV transit buses and $1.78 billion in Proterra Powered. Proterra Powered is where this increase in revenue will most likely come from, due to its crazy ability to expand at an exponential rate, which we talk about in this video in the top right corner. As seen from the financials, the energy segment of their business will grow roughly 130%. This is an average looking at their projections for the next 4 years. It is also important to acknowledge that these numbers are based upon their current backlog of over $750 million and account for a 68% revenue compound annual growth rate. Proterra also forecasts an increase in gross profit, which is a concern right now at a mere 4%. However, they see it growing to 25% by 2025. Two other aspects that make Proterra on the riskier side are their negative EBITDA and negative free cash flow, but Proterra projects to achieve positive EBITDA by 2023 and free cash flow by 2024. Here's a slide from Proterra's analyst presentation that highlight their 2025 financial goals. Once again, these are all just projections, so you're betting on Proterra's management and their execution to accomplish these financial goals.
Now on to comparing Proterra's financials to similar companies in their field. We will be breaking down some of Proterra's biggest competitors to address the question, is Proterra undervalued? We will be covering these 4 companies: the Lion Electric Company, Arrival, Romeo Power, and Bide. Arguably, these are Proterra's 4 biggest competitors. First, we will break down the Lion Electric Company. Worth $3.5 billion at $18.50 a share, the Lion Electric Company, ticker symbol LEV, is Proterra's biggest overall competitor. Mainly, Lion Electric competes with Proterra's EV bus and energy fleet solutions divisions. But Lion Electric also competes with Proterra's Proterra Powered through their school buses as well as their trucking vehicles. Both companies aim to produce buses, charging infrastructure, and more, but the Lion Electric Company is still a very young company, achieving $6.2 million in revenue in the first quarter of 2021. However, they expect it to grow exponentially to over $1.6 billion in 2023 as EV adoption continues and they continue to expand their infrastructure to produce vehicles. So now let's look at the advantages of the Lion Electric Company to Proterra financial-wise. First, they are expecting faster growth. They also produce their own school buses and trucks, which leads to more control of their overall production. Finally, they are building in the US to be co-located in both Canada and the US, which leads to access to a much larger market. Now let's take a look at the disadvantages of the Lion Electric Company to Proterra financially. First, they have no substantial revenue yet. They also have very high expectations, which leads to a high bar to cross. They are also hard to expand as they produce their own vehicles rather than being just a battery company like Proterra. Let's take a look at Arrival. Yet another merged SPAC, the British Arrival, ticker symbol ARVL, is another one of Proterra's competitors. Worth over $10 billion at $18, Arrival is known for their sleek and futuristic designs. This has brought them over $1 billion in backlog and many, many contracts. Arrival competes with Proterra's Proterra Powered and EV bus division through their transit buses and EV vehicles that they work with. While Arrival is pre-revenue, they expect over $5 billion in revenue by 2023. The advantages of Arrival to Proterra financially include a larger backlog with larger orders, and in addition expecting exponential growth. The disadvantages of Arrival to Proterra financially include having no revenue and no vehicles produced, which leads to substantial risk, and they are also currently dependent on a few contracts that would hurt if the companies pulled out. Thirdly, they are at a high valuation, meaning a lot of the catalysts already might be priced in. Next, let's take a look at Romeo Power. Worth $1.15 billion at $8.70. Romeo Power competes with Proterra's Proterra Power. They provide a battery solution with the quote mission to power the world's transition to electrification. Romeo Power is comprised of two main energy solution products, which include the Hermes module and Orion pack. According to Romeo Power, and I quote, "We are an industry-leading energy storage technology company focused on designing and manufacturing lithium-ion battery modules and packs for commercial electric vehicles. Currently, Romeo has only $1.1 million in revenue, down from $5.3 million in the prior quarter, but expects a lot of growth in the future." Next, let's take a look at the advantages of Romeo Power to Proterra financially. The main one I could think of is that they're only focused on one area. However, there are many disadvantages of Romeo Power to Proterra financially. First, they don't have consistent growth or revenue. And second, they are dependent on partners for their growth as they don't produce their own vehicles. And third off, their battery isn't as versatile as Proterra's is. Lastly, let's take a look at BYD. Worth over $100 billion at $30, the Chinese huge Buffett-backed BYD is the self-claimed undisputed leader in American battery electric buses and is the biggest competitor to Proterra in their EV bus section, as BYD produces thousands upon thousands of electric buses each year. Different from the previous companies, BYD has billions in revenue from their EV buses sold mainly in China, but also in the US and other countries, and their entire business already made $600 million in profit last year. But this is also mostly because of their selling of masks during the pandemic. The advantages of BYD to Proterra include BYD already having billions in revenue and really deep pockets to spend from. In addition, BYD is dominant in China and controls a significant stake in the US market. The disadvantages of BYD to Proterra, however, include that BYD is already worth $100 billion, so there's much less opportunity to possibly 5 to 10 extra money. And there's more to lose for BYD as an industry leader already than a company like Proterra. Third off, they are not headquartered in the US, so it is much less intriguing for a company located in the US to use them. And then finally, BYD is focused on many industries besides just EV buses, which leaves a lot of room for competition in the market.
While all these companies present an investment opportunity, it's clear that one stands out at its current levels, and that's Proterra. Lion Electric, Arrival, and Romeo Power are just 3 companies out of many who are hoping to take a piece of the rapidly expanding EV market. However, these competitors are in their early stages of development and have yet to consistently bring in revenue, let alone quarter-over-quarter improvement. Whereas Proterra has been operating for over a decade and consistently grown its revenue, plus expanded multiple segments of their business. Going back to BYD as the industry leader, it currently has a market cap of over $100 billion. It'll take far longer for BYD to potentially double when compared to Proterra. Thus, BYD stands more to lose from Proterra than it does to gain. When you're investing in Proterra, you're not only investing in a company with millions of revenue and a large backlog, but also the management team behind it. Proterra has board members from Tesla, Daimler, the Biden administration, and many more, just to name a few. A solid management team is the company's backbone, which determines the company's future outlook and short and long-term success. To conclude, while all these companies present some sort of opportunity, it is important to pick out the ones you believe can make a substantial difference in the EV revolution and or potentially become the next Tesla or even BYD. So overall, in our opinion, Proterra is the best bet.
So now the question becomes, what is Proterra's real fundamental value? No matter what part of Proterra's business you look at, it is undervalued in our opinions. While their competitors have similar projected growth, they lack current revenue, which makes it hard to trust their projections. So what is Proterra's real fundamental value? Judging from their financials, competitors, valuation, and future outlook we looked at today, a fair value for Proterra would be around $40, or a $7.2 billion market cap. This represents a near 128% gain from the current levels of around $17.50. As a disclaimer to conclude this video, we are both invested in Proterra and have a strong conviction in their ability to execute on both the top and bottom line. capturing market share in the rapidly growing and expanding EV market taking place right before our eyes. As an American company in connections with the Biden administration, it's likely they'll begin to receive more and more contracts, expanding their future growth.
Make sure to go check out our Instagram page right over here where we post daily stock market picks and updates.
Make sure to check out our StockSuits Twitter and Discord linked in the description below, as well as hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and hit that juicy red tomato subscribe button and those post notifications to keep up with our next videos. Finally, we'd really appreciate it if you left a comment below telling us something we can improve upon or a video suggestion for next time. We used a lot of the video suggestions from the Hertz videos, and we really appreciate you guys for leaving a comment down below, and we look forward to using more in the future. Other than that, thank you guys for watching, and good luck on your investment journey.
Bye.